Hey Freedom Lovers, this is Dr. Peterson Pierre with America's Frontline Doctors bringing you today's Daily Dose. Cholesterol is a term that often ignites passionate debates in healthcare. Viewed by many as a primary factor in heart disease, it is also known to be an essential component critical for bodily functions. Central to this discussion is LDL-C, commonly labeled as bad cholesterol. LDL is not cholesterol itself, but its transporter. Traditionally, medical professionals have linked an excess of LDL to arterial plaque accumulation, elevating heart attack and stroke risks. The battle against high LDL-C has long been fought with statins, drugs that cut down cholesterol production in the liver. As of 2021, the global statins market was estimated at around $15 billion and is expected to reach $22 billion by 2032. So, imagine lowering your cholesterol with Oreos instead of medication. Nicholas Norwitz, a Harvard medical student who holds a doctorate in metabolism and nutrition from the University of Oxford, has explored uncharted territory in cholesterol management through his innovative experiment. He investigated whether incorporating Oreo cookies into his low-carb ketogenic diet could decrease LDL-C levels, comparing this to the effects of conventional statin drugs. The rationale for this originates from the lipid energy model. This model proposes that reduced carbohydrate intake changes the way fats are processed, which may influence cholesterol levels in people who are otherwise metabolically healthy. For lean people, cutting down on carbs means their bodies use more fat for energy. This change primarily happens in the liver, which sends out more very low-density lipoprotein, VLDL, a type of particle that carries fats in our blood. Once these VLDL particles deliver their fat cargo, they become LDL-C, the so-called bad cholesterol, and HDL-C, the good cholesterol. This process explains why LDL-C and HDL-C levels can rise while triglycerides, another type of fat, drop in these individuals. Mr. Norwitz explained, quote, based on the lipid energy model, adding back carbs and repleting the store of glycogen in the liver should bring LDL-C back down in a lean mass hyperresponder, end quote. His study suggests that the carbohydrate source, whether bananas, potatoes, or even Oreo cookies, can substantially decrease LDL cholesterol. In this dietary trial, Mr. Norwitz adhered to his typical ketogenic diet, lowering carbohydrates, which is about 20 grams per day. Subsequently, he introduced a unique variable, eating 12 Oreo cookies daily for 16 days, adding 100 grams of carbohydrates. During this phase, he maintained ketosis with ketone supplements, ruling out ketosis as a factor for any increase in his LDL-C. After a 3-month break or washout period to reset his weight and health markers to their original state, he embarked on the second phase of the experiment. This time, he took 20 milligrams of rosuvastatin daily for 6 weeks, a statin drug used for lowering cholesterol, all while sticking to his ketogenic diet. The results were striking. Initially, Mr. Norwitz's LDL-C level was 384 milligrams per deciliter. After the Oreo supplementation, it plummeted to 111, marking a 71% reduction. After the break, LDL-C levels rose to 421, but were only reduced to 284, a 32.5% reduction on statin therapy. Quote, this study is helpful for lean individuals who experience significant increase in LDL cholesterol on a ketogenic/low-carb diet, end quote, Dr. Cromwell asserts. He continues, for such people, diet modification, increasing carbohydrates, rather than medications, should be considered as the first line of treatment. if LDL lowering is needed, end quote. Mr. Noritz explained, quote, "This was a metabolic demonstration. I sincerely hope nobody takes this to mean Oreos are good for heart health. Nevertheless, the experiment raises an uncomfortable implicit question about the consequences, and I love uncomfortable questions in science," end quote. The pursuit of knowledge in academic medicine frequently encounters significant hurdles, notably in securing funding. Many studies are backed by the pharmaceutical and food industries, which can sometimes lead to a conflict of interest, especially when research might contradict their agendas. For independent researchers, finding support for unconventional research can be a daunting task. I thought this was a very interesting study because it shows a doctor or doctor-to-be actually pursuing intellectual curiosity, looking at a question regardless of who may benefit financially from it. Typically, if a drug is funded by drug companies, you're going to be guaranteed that the drug will show benefit. Here, he's showing that, granted, this was just one person, that Oreos did a better job than statins, which begs the question, in general, how many natural alternatives are there out there that outperform well-accepted, commonplace drugs that are sold to us daily through advertisements? Interesting question. Ladies and gentlemen, only the truth will set you free. Stay tuned for the next Daily Dose.